Hello everyone, it's Morris back here. Today is day 4 of Axie Infinity Origins Season 2, and it's still the rare era, and we can see how today's meta is like, and we have GG still on top, and then yeah, there are some interesting new ones, especially I really like this one. So this is like a leafy sustain kind of hybrid with the curse as well, so actually curse card with the triple hot butt is the key, I feel, with the leafies to also finish opponents off at the late game. You do get some ways of getting the leaves with the eyes here of the puppy, so yeah, it's gonna be interesting, this one. So but before we go into this particular team, let's actually go and look at what's the rest of the meta. And you can see AoE of Cotton Tail is still very strong. Top 2 is more like sustain, but then you have the mostly it's just Cotton Tail. I won't say every single team have like a tri-feather kind of thing, but the tri-feather, Cotton Tail, Ronin, I think those are the really strong cards at the moment. And then let me just see what else. Okay, Shu is using like the this is actually quite a good team as well. It's a lot of ramp kind of thing, and then triple the pigeon post I think is still very strong. Maybe I'll visual that in later maybe next episode or next video. But then let me see what else. So now you can kind of settle, like you can see it's mostly about bird, beast, and beast is still probably the most common. Bug and beast, I think those are the main ones, right? And bird, and then aqua a bit as well, and you'll see later. I'll probably show you, might as well just show you now actually, right? So this is the chart for now, I think. And yeah, so 50% is still beasts, meaning quite a lot of people are still running like triple beast kind of thing. But then yeah, you can see aqua quite a bit, and then bird and bug are the ones. And then yeah, good to see that plants get a bit of love as well. But then yeah, the rest actually not many people have. I assume it's actually probably because of the availability of these Axies, like the secret classes, and I guess reptile not too strong, but the secret classes is just not that much. So meaning, let's say the top players, you can see, right, they are playing the secret classes, but then for top 1,000 players, is still probably a bit too inaccessible, including myself. I must say I'm in one top 1,000 as well, but then yeah, I really just don't have the good Axies with the with the secret class. Of course, the very top player, they have the most optimized team with like the correct. I'll say correct, but like the runes and charms that fits the class. So meaning, like, for example, right? So for this kind of team, the curse card team, then you do need like 3 Dusk in that sense, like to get the most out of these runes. You can see also, right? Get the runes from the secret classes, so the top players will have to optimize those as well. But for, I guess, casual players like us, then we of course I assume that most people watching are more casual, but of course if you are one of the tops, then you probably have some of these Axies already. Whereas yeah, for the rest, I would say try to get Axies that are like have the right parts, and then sure, I think at this point at least, right, for the rare era, the runes don't matter as much. It's actually the combination of cards I feel that matters more, is because the runes are not that strong at the moment. Still still important, but I mean, of course, if you want to fight to the top, then yeah, you need to optimize everything. But if you just want to get to like top 1,000 kind of thing, then I think if you just have like some cards that synergize as well with each other, I think it's quite doable even without having the secret classes. Okay, so let me just see what else is up here. You can see it's just a lot of Gontail, and interesting, it got some sustain kind of thing as well. So I never thought about sustain being viable, but apparently it is still very viable, which is a good sign, because it really feels like the meta is pretty balanced. So you can see this one is more like sustain with this snake jar here, and then I think on the very top, sustain is still quite a big thing. I mean, I've lost the sustain build earlier as well, and then I know how it feels as well. It's just like sometimes frustrating to just not be able to break through the back axis or something. So let me just see. But by and large, it's a lot of bugs. I feel. I'm not too sure why. Is it just because of the event, or just because like people think I think the bugs is strong still? As I mentioned last time. And then let me just scroll down. Yeah, it's quite good that I do see quite a lot of different things. Even though yes, there are a few strong cards that you always see again and again. So, once being the Tri-Feather and the Corntail kind of thing. With the I guess Innocent Lamb gives you basically 2 in Corntail. And then you see Tiny Dino actually quite a lot of the teams. Taunt getting quite important, so Ants quite important I would feel. But yeah, you can see I think the Corntail with the Innocent Lamb is a very good option for a lot of teams. And then let's just see what else is there. Yeah, a couple of curse as well. So yeah, I'm just happy to see a lot of different things on the meta, especially the top 100. So this is really the kind of meta that I think is, I would call it, pretty healthy in that sense. Even though sure, like some pros might still say, oh yeah, some strategy is just too strong, but at least in like the rare era, I think I think I quite like it. No Triple Beast still getting up to the top 100 as well. So yeah, I quite like it. Okay, so let's actually get into the team highlight of today, which is this one here, the second one. So it's basically the triple Dusk team with triple Hot Butt, and then the Leafy for the end game, and then just keep shielding, and then once you get to the late game, then you can use Leafy to finish your opponents off. That's how I assume it works, but without further ado, let's actually just get into the game. Okay, let's just pause it here. Let's look at the teams, and pick the Poison one as well, just because I haven't really seen Poison. So let's just look at the Zannzaki's team first. So Zannzaki's team basically triple curse ritual. What it does is, I think it's quite key, this rune, is that when your turn ends, the closest enemy actually takes 3 damage per curse card in your opponent's deck, right? So that is including the discard pile and the draw pile. So and I assume also the hand as well. And kept at 30, so every turn it deals 30. Once you get a lot of burns into the opponent's deck, so you can see this one. Okay, so the front, let's talk about this first. So it's a very like tanky, as in just all shield card things. There's no end game potential, but meaning you can't really deal any damage. But you can, just shield. There's a very flexible shield. It's just very efficient. And then Cucumber Slice actually very strong. Oh, interesting. With the, I quite like this one. Because the downside is not much. It's just literally 2 HP. Because it still gains 10 HP, 10 base HP every turn. So that's why I think that's good. And it gives you the cleanse. Apply to 1 cleanser, I think. So, and of course this is a AoE, so I assume this will just apply 3 cleanse, like 1 cleanse to every Axie. So I think this is a very strong effect, I think. And the Innocent Lamb, very flexible, I think. That's what I can see, very optimized, right? Because let's say against Poison, you probably want to get another Silence Whisper, and that's why like Innocent Lamb is just so useful in this kind of team. Let's say if you are playing against other teams, maybe you want another Hot Butt or something, or maybe another Cucumber Slice. Actually, getting a Cucumber Slice early against aggro might be pretty good, right? So then you can already stack up the healing, stack up the retain, right? And then you can do a massive heal. So very, very strong, I think. And that's why this kind of Axie is just very hard to come by. And then let's just see. Okay, so this one is more like the typical, I would call it Leafy kind of thing, except of course there's Hot Butt, which to be honest is actually not pretty cheap, in the sense that like this kind of Axie, right? Because Hot Butt usually you don't really want it, but of course except when you have Curse Ritual, otherwise it's not too strong of a card, especially if you want to play aggro. But this one is more sustain kind of thing, and then you can do a Cactus. I think Cactus is very important, especially on like Leafy kind of thing, or just sustain in general, because it allows you to draw attacks from the front, and then you kind of basically distribute all your heals. And then of course that's the Cucumber Slice value, right? That if you remember last season also, right? Once you get Cactus, you get damage on all 3 of the Axie, and then you Cucumber Slice, and this gives you like massive value. And I think Blossom very, very strong actually, I feel, because especially I play a Leafy team myself, so I know, right, that if you can first, if you do initial, you can, let's say if you miss a card that you wanted to play, you can just get it back from the discard pile. If not, you can also, let's say if a turn 1 or turn round 1, round 2 or something, you can use Blossom to actually get the card that you want. Let's say there's a key card that you actually want. Let's say Cactus. You really want a Cactus, right? Because otherwise your front might go down, right? Then you can use Blossom to ensure that next turn you can get a Cactus. So I think it really helps with the consistency of the game, of the gameplay, I think. So it's pretty strong. And then you can see the Jinx as well. Actually, yeah, double top, putting effectively usually two Jinx in the opponent's deck, because do 2 hits. Usually, you do 2 hits, but of course sometimes you miss and just do 1. But still, I mean, 1 Jinx is still not bad. And Leafy for the end game. But in this case, I don't see any way of gaining leaves. So I think it might be just more to start off the opponents, like weak Axie, that kind of thing. If I haven't missed anything, yeah, I don't really see any way for this Axie to gain leaves. Having said that, this Axie does have a way of gaining leaves over time, because every time you rotate your deck, and if you use Puppy, of course, then you can actually get a leaf, and once you get to 3 leaves, then this could be very strong. So it's probably good against other kind of sustained build. Yeah, so let's see what else. Yeah, Cactus again, very strong. And then actually Pumpkin gives you another, I guess, consistency kind of play, because let's say opponent hits the not Cactus, the Pumpkin, then yeah, you get an extra card draw, which of course just increase the consistency of your play, because sometimes you might run out of cards to play, or you really are looking for a shield or something. Yeah, or if you just want a hot butt, yeah, so it just basically gives you more option every turn. Yeah, double top also, as I said, very strong. And then this time Leafy actually can do quite a lot of damage with the leaf that's gained over time at the end game. Okay, so let's look at the opponent's team quickly. So there's more of a, I would say, typical yeah, poison kind of team with Tiny Turtle as well, so that's why I think this opponent pretty high ranked. Having said that though, this is the not so typical one, where you have a Mavis, so a bit of ramp and also disruption of the opponent's energy gain. And then, yeah, the Dispel, I think, is kind of needed nowadays against especially aggro, like Beast kind of thing, where it just at least get rid of the rage stacks. And then, yeah, Tiny Turtle again, and then, yeah, basically triple Tiny Turtle, very disruptive. Oh, one thing I should have said is Tiny Turtle, of course, goes well with Gecko, because once you, let's say, one Axie uses Tiny Turtle, it goes to sleep, right? You can use the Gecko to cleanse them back, so very good combo. And what else is at the back? Scar, okay, ensure that you get some consistency as well. So early game you want to put poison. This allows you to get a poison, or let's say if you miss one, then you can take it back. So that's also pretty good. And then Wall Gecko, okay, this is actually quite good as well. Especially with the mech. Again, you can see at the top is there are quite a lot of the secret classes. That of course this one is more like a tank, where it ensures that it should survive a bit just because of this steel skin. Once you do Wall Gecko, you'll heal back 50% of the HP loss. And of course, I didn't mention is that, actually Skelly Spoon can be very annoying for things like maybe even Leafy team, right? So let's say if you have a lot of leaves, then you have to kind of like play around this as well. So basically have to play Leafy first, because otherwise your leaves might get dispelled or something. So yeah, I think overall it's still a very strong poison team, but of course poison as a strategy is not as good for now, but I guess compared to other strategy, but I think still viable. At least definitely top 1,000, I think should be definitely doable. But okay, let's just look into the games. Okay, yeah, I mean first turn couldn't do anything really, and just choose to keep the Blossom. So that's the downside of, I guess, playing this kind of team, right? It's just that especially first turn, you can't really do much. But okay, yeah, time to put Jinx into the opponent's deck. And I assume Hotbot as well, so this is kind of the game plan, right? It's really just to put a lot of Jinx and the burn into opponent's deck, so that then every turn, I think this is like every turn ends, right? Then the front Axie will take damage. Yep, opponent also just doing like what they need to do, 20 stacks already. I'm pretty sure the Innocent Lamb will have to be turned into the Silent Whisper, but hasn't got one yet, so it's taking a bit of damage for now. The opponent, okay, I'll say it's not. Yu is actually very strong as well, so both of them METAT8. So, yeah, it's just interesting to see that there's no Gila. But okay, you can see that the spell, but didn't dispel. Didn't dispel this. So this is what they wanted us to dispel this. So again, you can see Innocent Lamb has to turn into the Silent Whisper, so that keeping the back alive. Interesting. Yeah, basically stacking, so that now I think this basically is like 12 turns or something, because Silent Whisper is like 6 turns. Okay, so yeah, poison, I think at some point it'll get to like 40. So this is a very interesting matchup, right? It's just not you don't really see much damage. It's just doing all this and probably just 2 double top, right? Yep, yeah, Sound of the Mavis, very good. And then another one maybe. Yep. So this kind of matchup, right? There's no need for like cactus and pumpkin, that kind of thing, because the opponent's probably not gonna hit into you. But you can see the damage stacking up already from all these runes. Yeah, opponent, yeah, now is getting quite, the draws is gonna be pretty bad. Just because of all the curse card, but the sleep is actually very annoying this turn. Yep, just choose to throw away one so that it can use the Silent Whisper just to stack up this. So you see a game plan, it's not to keep all the Axies alive, it's now just stacking Silent Whisper on the back, so it just makes sure that the back always has Silent Whisper. Okay, now getting the heal, but of course, like against a stain, this doesn't really do much as well. Let's see. Okay, Blossom. I guess just tossed it away, really. Okay, then they're gonna the heal. That wasn't that much of a heal, I feel. Actually, quite a bit. Let me see. But I think mostly it's about keeping the back Axie alive. So they already kind of know what's the best way to approach this. Approach this game, and unfortunately for the poison team, there's just really no way of getting through. And the front is going down soon, just because of all the curse card inside. And yeah, I think it's just gonna stack Silent Whisper. Oh, and the front as well. So keeping the front, because this definitely can last to the end of the game already at this point. So the poison doesn't do anything. And just basically healing up, just make sure everything is alive. And you can see the front going down already, just because there's so many curse cards. And this is basically like this particular team's way of like getting KO from to the opponent's Axie is basically using the rune. But yeah, you can see very unfortunate, right? No, it's unfortunate. It's just how powerful the strategy is, right? Just putting in all these curse cards, and the opponent's just can't do anything at this point. Yeah, just start dealing some damage and shielding. Okay, like ensuring some draws. So let's just see what the opponents can do. Not much, to be honest, at this point. And yeah, I think it's pretty much GG. Oh, okay, like being able to hit this one, but of course it's gonna heal it up. I think ultimately it really just goes down to whether I'm interested to see whether they can actually pick up the knockout. So now one Axie is down already, so only 2 of the runes doing damage. And of course there's still maybe I do a cactus just to do the damage. Yep, double top for sure, just to get more curse card in, so that this will, I assume it's already capped up to 30. Alright, yeah. And maybe not, I'm not too sure. That's because the burns will actually go away as well. So it's not like goo where it will stay in your opponent's deck. So yeah, this damage you have to continue to put the curse card in, because once the opponent draws it, then okay, interesting to just stack this and then heal. Yeah. Okay, we're getting quite close to the end, and yeah, because of these runes, that this is still going down, but I don't think it matters at this point. It's just more about, is it max HP? I actually don't know. Like yeah, this one is asleep now, and then let's just see. They choose to keep this one. Can they finish off? I think Leafy doesn't actually finish off, right? Because okay, so ultimately, yeah, they, of course, both of them 10 attack it such that they will survive this particular turn. And I think all the pros now, I mean, especially at the top, they know that they have to survive this turn with at least 1 HP here. So now it's just shielding, and then you can see how the leafy end game works. And I feel like it's basically down to who goes at this particular turn, I feel. So wow, I think ultimately I'm just thinking, right, if you get in a situation, so whoever can attack from this particular situation wins. Of course you can see, right, that the back is the one that's the key, because you can see the 3 stacks of leaves because of the the eyes, and ultimately can finish off the opponent in this kind of situation. Okay, so let's look at another game. Okay, let's pause it here, and it is against Fresco, so I think also very high ranked now, maybe like top 5 or something. And so let's look at his team. Before that, let's just double check. I think it's pretty much the same. So I think this is kind of the matchup that's tough for the Hot Butt team, just because typically Hot Butt is just not a very strong in terms of tempo kind of card. So, and the rest of the team really have to be able to deal with aggro, and in this case, Chuck's team is just very aggro with double Corontail. Let's just look into what it does. So the bug front is, I think, very strong, and I think this rune is probably one of the strongest in terms of defensive ability for rare. And then Parasite actually very strong, because it really disrupt the opponent's play next turn, because you can discard one of the key cards. And actually maybe this is the MVP, I'm not too sure, but because Shallow can actually deal basically 185 damage in a way, because especially against the team that relies on shield, this basically just removes 120 shield, so that is very strong. And 2 disruption, right, because let's say if opponents usually, okay, in this case, right, opponent has Cucumber Slice, the kind of thing that's retained, right, and this card actually removes the cards that are being retained, like one random retained card basically. So again, very strong. And you can see, right, this is also very strong. The Square Teeth is because it couples with things like Leaf Bug, and other shield card that allows you to even do damage at be aggro if you need to be aggro, but of course if you want to shield, you can just still shield. So very flexible and just very strong card, I think, in general. Sometimes this 0 cost 25 is still very strong. Actually no, it's because it has this rune as well. I think this this charm gives you 10 shield, so at least it will be 0 cost 30 shield. And actually not even that, because you probably will have a bit of shield, maybe 10 shield or something. So it can basically be 0 cost, deal 30, 40 damage sometimes. So that is something to look out for. Maybe this is just like a card that comes with the other 5 cards. I feel like these 4 are the key ones. And getting bird probably doesn't matter too much. Let's just see if there are any bird cards. I'm not too sure. Okay, so let's look into the mid, and the mid has Leech. Leech is also very strong against Sustain, so that's why it's very annoying, I guess, for Sustain to deal with this kind of team, because Leech, if you rely on shield, they just steal your shield at the big, and basically you just lose 30% of the shield already. Especially, and then with this Shallow, then there's really the shield doesn't really exist in that sense. And then Corontail, of course, a must. Oh, interesting. Yeah, because I quite like this actually. I kind of never thought about this. Putting the White Sage here. So this actually, I mean, reduces the heal, but sure, I mean, it reduces by 1. I think reduces by 20%. But the key is that it put cleanse and put a cleanser on, I think. And cleanser, I think, very strong. So let me just see. And Corontail, as I mentioned many times, is still very strong. Oh wow. Double Square Teeth as well, so oh my god, so okay, I can see why this is strong as well, because let's say if your opponent actually plays card, actually plays shield, then you steal the opponent's shield and then you use Square Teeth to deal like 50 damage or something or more. Again, this is already a 35 base damage kind of thing. If you leash more, even stronger. So yeah, this combination is pretty good. Yeah, I use this as well. All right, if you can, try to use this combo. 0 cost 35, strong, I would say. And then the bleed, I think the rest of the cards comes with it. I guess maybe not actually. These 2 are quite key as well, I think. And this one enables you to get into Corontail early. So the ramp I think could be important. The bleed and the Gracious Wound is very annoying to deal with, just because once you put it on and then the opponent has bleed, then they will take quite a lot of damage, even like for sustain, right? They just can't cleanse it off, I think. So, and then Neo is also very disruptive, so wow, I quite like this kind of combination. And then let's look at the back. Little piece, yeah, as usual, very strong. This one is the Dominant Predator, so meaning if you put little piece, this will put bleed onto the opponent's Axie, and of course vulnerable as well, and then the next one will deal massive damage. And of course coupled with like Corontail and then a Ronin that's just gonna just one shot an opponent. I can see like these 4 cards. Death Mark I think also very strong, because for an aggro like this deals a lot of damage with the Death Mark. 4 turns as well. And then interesting, yeah, the Cleanse and Cleanser maybe is really just to deal with I won't say poison I don't think can survive this kind of aggro. Maybe like weak or something, or yeah, not too sure. Or maybe sleep as well. Okay, this one is, I'm not too sure, but yeah, but I think it's always good to have a cleanse kind of thing. Okay, so let's just play and see how this one goes. Okay, getting one cleanser already. I can see putting on the bleed, which at this point doesn't matter too much, but yeah, just throwing away the banished bird card. I don't think there's any bird cards, so in that sense it's not like the most perfect of Axie, but still strong enough to get to the top 5. So you can see you don't really need to always have like the best Axie. Okay, yeah, so it's just really dealing a lot of damage, and let's just see if the sustain can actually do it. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a mistake, but I think you have to go with your game plan as well, right? Even though you can see that you are going to take quite a bit of damage at this point, but not much choice in a way, because I can imagine they can just go for full shield, but then yeah, I think Chuck's team is just too much aggro, you can see, right? And putting the shield on doesn't quite work as well, just because of the leech and so on. So very tough matchup, I think. Just really have to rely on the curse card to do the job. But at this point, the front is going down already. Very unfortunate, never get the cactus as well, so the front might go down pretty soon. You can see that avoiding playing the shield just because, yeah, still have to play it. But the stealing, you can see it's still quite a lot of shield already, and then the front probably is going to go down because with the Corontail. I might not even need the Corontail, but yeah, so this already goes down. Corontail, interesting to not use the Corontail at this point. Maybe just to like pick up the KO at a later turn. Or maybe just go, maybe in case it's a sustain, you can actually choose to not use the Corontail and really just, this is really no reason, no rush, right? Just get to the energy burst first, and then you'll slowly get there. Because still a lot of rounds to go anyway, and now using the Corontail, okay. Okay, choosing to remove some cards. Don't think it'll be a KO though. Yeah, so Square Teeth, I'm pretty sure they'll play it as well. Yeah, so not really a KO, so I'm not too sure why I chose to use the Corontail at this point, but yeah, but you can see, right, it's just too tough, right, because in terms of tempo, right, it's just not enough, and with the leech as well, yeah, I think it is gonna be very rough. Yeah, you have the shield, right, but then you're still away at 30% of the shield already. Right, look. Okay. 80 something down to 50 something, and then yep, as I said, this card really removes all your shield as well, not all, but like 120, and yeah, there's really just no way. So that's why, to be honest, I don't really enjoy playing like sustain kind of things, because if you're going against this kind of hyper aggro, there's really just no way in which you can I won't say no way, but of course it has to be a very optimized aggro in order to beat the sustain, but still, I mean, sometimes it just feels bad in a way. And yeah, at this point, no shield, nothing. It's really just rely on the curse card now to come into play, but you can see Square Teeth. Interesting to go for the heal and go for the, yeah. I'm surprised by that play, to be honest. Not too sure. Maybe just want to keep like the Axies, but wow. Oh, stacking this one up maybe because not too sure. But of course, actually, the curse card actually buffs the this one, the Vault Builder as well, because it actually gains it quite a bit. Oh, okay. So this is the time where I guess you have. Oh, I'm not sure why just didn't wait for the next turn. But that's an interesting play because maybe it could have like keep right and then wait for the next turn, like just for burst the opponent down. Not too sure if that's like what I would have done, but I mean Chuck found his way to win this game, I would assume. But yeah, still hanging on, right? zannzaki. But it just feels like it's once you get into this kind of draw, that's gonna be pretty tough. Maybe even get into rage mode at some point, but I think it's not needed at this point, and that is GG's. Yeah, so that is the downside of playing the curse kind of thing, especially with hot butt, and because let's say hot butt, right? Those the burns can actually will go away after a turn, right? Once the opponent draws it. So that's like the downside of it, I would say. So okay, so this is it for today's meta analysis and team highlight. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.